Welcome back to the NBA Rundown. On today's show, we're going to cover the biggest story in the National Basketball Association. And of course, that didn't actually happen on the court. Yeah, it was, of course, LeBron James hanging out on the Pat McAfee show for north of an hour. He did everything from airing his grievances with ESPN hosts while on ESPN to promoting his new Mind the Game rebooted version of his podcast that he had with JJ Redick, which is now going to be starring the former head coach of the Brooklyn Nets, one Steve Nash. A big show for you today. Thanks so much for tuning in. All right, so we begin with LeBron James going on a nationally televised show for well over an hour. Now, let's just be clear. If LeBron had done this, I don't know, 5 years ago or maybe 10 years ago, I probably would have given him the benefit of the doubt that he was actually just being a nice guy. And I'm not a LeBron hater, so don't get me wrong. But I just want to be clear about what this performance today was really all about on the Pat McAfee show. It was about two things. The first thing, which was, of course, the most important thing, which was to promote the new Mind the Game podcast with Steve Nash. Steve Nash, who I'm sure if you got him in a total moment of honesty, would tell you he has no desire, none whatsoever, to ever coach again in the National Basketball Association. Can you imagine Steve Nash getting hired to coach the Phoenix Suns right now with Kevin Durant on the team? What about the Los Angeles Clippers with James Harden? What if the Dallas Mavericks came calling and he had a chance to coach Kyrie Irving once again? I'm just saying Steve Nash is probably still having PSTD from his coaching career. That being said, that was the primary reason LeBron James agreed to do a segment or two on the Pat McAfee show. But let's just be clear. He was there, as I mentioned, for north of an hour. I want to mention once again, before I get into this next part, that I'm not one of these LeBron James haters. Look, I know LeBron James didn't go to Nike because Michael Jordan was at Nike. I know LeBron James went to Nike because they offered him $90 million and he had the opportunity immediately to actually get his mom out of her living situation at the time. $90 million, a 7-year deal is what he got from Nike. Had very little to do with Michael Jordan outside of the fact that Michael Jordan did pave the way for players like LeBron James to actually get that kind of money from a first contract to begin with. So we're going to get into the media components of this next, which is simply to say this is the second reason that LeBron James went on the Pat McAfee show. And the irony of it all, it was LeBron James ripping on Stephen A. Smith and Brian Windhorst. Then it was leaked video from that appearing on First Take with, of course, Stephen A. Smith and Brian Windhorst having an opportunity to sort of respond. I'm sure we'll hear more responses from Stephen A. Smith, either on ESPN and or on his own show. I pretty much would bet $1 billion that we'll see a video from Stephen A. Smith about LeBron's appearance on the Pat McAfee show. So to be clear, this was a bit of a awkward situation when you think about it. It's LeBron on ESPN ripping on ESPN announcers and personalities. He ripped pretty hard on Brian Windhorst as well. It was pretty safe to say that there is no love lost. He used the word weird at times to describe Brian Windhorst. I have to say, after watching the entire interview earlier in the day, it really sort of struck me as a interesting use of the media. And if you think about LeBron James from a couple months ago, he did the whole, I'm taking a break from social media. I need to cleanse myself from social media. So LeBron took his break from social media, and I kidded him at the time simply by saying I'm sure his sponsors won't appreciate that. And of course, LeBron has slowly been working his way back into the social media mainstream. Now, to say LeBron James is a bad guy is the wrong assessment. But to say LeBron James is a calculating businessman is the correct assessment. To say that LeBron James, because of that calculating businessman mentality, might actually rub a lot of people the wrong way, which is probably one of the reasons he actually does have a significant amount of detractors in the marketplace today. But in my opinion, that doesn't make him a bad guy. It just makes him who he is. He's very smart. As we all know, he's one of the top 2 greatest basketball players of all time in the association. I'll let you all debate who I think was the best basketball player of all time. We're going to have a longevity conversation, then certainly LeBron wins that award. That being said, let's just be clear once again what this appearance on the Pat McAfee show was all about. It was about 1, promoting his rebooted podcast, and 2, having the opportunity to ironically rip on ESPN hosts and personalities while on ESPN. All right, that's it for today's NBA Rundown. Thanks so much for tuning in. As always, I'm Dave DeBaugh, wishing you all a tremendous rest of your sports viewing day.
I don't ever slow up, no I don't take shit, I got no